Welcome back, team. Today's going to be a really great video. I'm going to be showing you how we're thinking about setting up the business so that it's capable of doing around 50 million revenue a year. Today, I'm going to be talking you through the 3 ways in which you can scale a consumer brand. We're also going to be jumping into how we're thinking about launching into some new channels and introducing you to some of the team that we've had to bring in to deliver the plan. Whether you're just starting a brand or you're in a scale-up phase like us, this video should be a good one.
Hey.
That is out the bag. You okay? Did you know about this? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How'd you guys? I shouldn't have told you yesterday. I'm embarrassed, Steve. Oh, guys, that's a lovely start to the day. Thank you very much. So in a consumer brand, there's only really 3 ways to grow. There's product, there's channels, and then there's markets. So if we take gels, for example, with Pure Sport, we start with gels as our product. D2C might be our channel, and we might be only focused on the UK. So if we wanted to look to grow our business in that scenario, we could do 2 things. Well, we could actually do 3 things. We could either introduce a new product and only sell that product on D2C in the UK, and that product would mean that we were able to potentially sell more stuff to our existing customer base, but also people who liked our brand but didn't like gels might be interested in electrolytes. Or it might be easier for us to stick with being really good at making gels and opening up a new channel. So we could go from just selling on D2C to selling on D2C in Amazon, or in this example, we could go from selling just on D2C to D2C in retail. And that would put our brand and our product in front of more eyeballs and help us to grow there. Or the third option might be, if we're really good at gels and we're really good at selling on D2C, it might be better for us to open up a new market and go and sell in the US. And I think one of the things about that people really should think about when they're thinking about these things are what are they actually really good at. A good example of a brand that's done this really successfully is AG1, one product business, only really sold on D2C and scaled through lots of different markets. So in Pure Sport's history to date, the lever that we've used to grow is new products. We've really only been a D2C site, only really sold on D2C, our own website. So in order to grow, we've always been launching new products into new categories. But over the last 9 months, that's when we've decided that the business wants to go omnichannel and we want to start to launch on new channels. So really doubling down on Amazon. We're going into retail for the first time. We launched in Boots this week, which is really exciting. So now we're trying to take our best-selling products and scale them by growing them on new channels. So you really only want to be pulling one lever at any moment in time. You don't really want to be pulling 2, and if you're trying to pull 3, that's going to be a complete disaster. If you're trying to launch new products onto new channels and scale in new markets, that's going to be a disaster for focus in any small business. So the advantages of focusing on one at a time is with a small business, you've got limited resource, so you can be putting everything into making sure that product launches a success or launching onto Amazon a success. And the disadvantages would be you don't actually have enough time, enough resource, or enough money, often in a startup or a small business, to be pulling all 3 levers at the same time and doing a good job. So my advice would be, if you want to be a business that launches new products, make sure you're really good at doing that on the channel in which is your main channel. But if you are someone who's got a great product and you want to launch into new channels, don't do multiple channels at once. Don't try and do Amazon, don't try and do retail, don't try and scale your D2C site, because it will just take so much focus away from the business and you'll sort of be half baking everything.
So at the start of last year, we did a big piece of research looking into the category and specifically how it was shopped. So sports nutrition is the category in which that we operate in. And if we just split this up into sort of the 4 key channels, let's just take retail, D2C, Amazon, and then we'll just call this other. And other would be things like, more boutique health type stores, gyms, other places like that. Whereas in retail, this would be all your mainstream retail, your grocery, your high street, your major retail outlets. So when we looked at, and we got this piece of research back, it told us that the category was shopped 40% on Amazon, 30% in mainstream retail, 15% on D2C, and the other 15% was made up in other. So in 2025, Pure Sport as a business was set up. We were 0% in retail. We were 90% D2C. We're 10% on Amazon, and we were kind of 0% in other. And so at that moment in time, we really took that decision, or made that decision based on how the category was shopped and the ambition of the business to be a category defining brand, that we needed to branch out to be an omni-channel brand. So in 2026, the way the business will shape up is we'll be kind of 5% retail, 25% on Amazon. We'll be about 2% into like small retail, lighthouse accounts, etc. So it's kind of like 7% majorly in retail. We will be 68% D2C. In 2027, the focus is to be 10% retail, 30% Amazon, 5% in all those small stores, and 55% D2C. And by the end of 2028, which is phase one of what we're calling this building block for us, we'd actually really like to be 20% retail, 30% Amazon still, probably 5% here in terms of other, and 45% D2C. And you can see in this way here, we're getting much more set up the way in which the category is shopped. And as a brand entering what is a huge market, 1.5 billion here in the UK, we're fundamentally not going to change the way that shoppers are shopping. So although we have some breakthrough on D2C, we have some products which maybe, especially with our consumer base, they're more inclined to shop on D2C. What this is really saying to us is if we're a 10 million D2C business, we should actually be able to do 30 million plus on Amazon because of how many shoppers are going over there and the way in which the category is shopped. Well, we are going to Boots. We launched it there on Monday. So hopefully the products are in and on shelf. It should be the first time that I'm seeing them, and the first time that we've ever really properly been in a big retailer, which is cool. One of the big levers that we're pulling in terms of growing the business at the moment is about launching into new channels, and retail is a key focus for that. So it's going to be cool to see what it looks like in store and try and speak to some people about it. In my opinion, it's when your brand's already reasonably established and people might recognize it when they see it on shelf. I think it's really hard to build a brand on shelf because there's so much noise yelling at you, what the products are, the packaging, etc. So I think it's better to build a brand off shelf and then launch on shelf, but that's not the way that everybody does it. They gave us these units for the marathon weekend, actually. I didn't know these were all here. That's cool. Gels are pretty gone. All the berry gels are gone. And then I think we've got a shelf over here. Yeah, here we go. And the berry gels are gone here too. God, it just shows you how competitive the old space is though, isn't it? About how much everything's yelling at you. Yes, I mean, one of the big advantages, even here, there's like 500 people around, even just on this floor, looking for things, looking for brands. I think often you kind of get two types of consumers in store, people having a bit of a browse, but you also get a really intentional consumer. They'll be coming in looking for something, looking for gels, looking for electrolytes, hydration, etc. So there's a lot of intent. So you want to be at the place in which people are looking. So massive advantage to get eyes on the brand and also drive sales. The disadvantages are, as you can see here, you're competing with loads of other brands. You've got very limited ability to communicate on shelf. So here's Pure Sport, we're a performance hydration product, you can kind of see there, and then you've kind of got this opportunity here to sell to people. So if nobody knows your brand and they're looking to discover you as a new brand, you've actually got reasonably limited communication opportunity, especially with how much noise is going on here. One of the challenges that we had is, like, obviously one of the USPs of our packaging is this nice green bit across the bottom, and when you line them all up nicely, it's all the same on, it's the same on each one, like that, and the colors look like that. Again with creatine, so that kind of has a good USP on shelf. But one of the challenges that we had is when we put them into the shelf tray, actually the lip kind of hid the colors a bit. It was actually even worse. The lip was a bit higher than this. So then that's not giving the same visual aesthetic as it did when it was, up here like that.
So those are the kinds of little things that you think about when you build a brand on D2C that you might not necessarily know about. I think the main do's are be really intentional about how you think you're going to get off shelf with what you're communicating and how you show up and where you show up and all of those things. I think you know, you're very naive if you think, oh, we've got this brand that can sell on D2C, we're going to sell in retail. I think one of the big don'ts is don't think it's cool to launch in too many stores. Like we've launched in 150 stores because we want to prove how we do it, or prove that we know how to do it, and prove that we're a valuable partner to Boots. I think that you could launch in 500 stores and it's putting so much risk on your business, your stock, your payment terms, your cash, all of those things. So don't be too greedy at the start. I'd say start small and then build out the retail footprint. It's our strategy with retail. So our strategy with retail is to find the right partners, partners that want to build, long-term relationships. Our business philosophy are for the long run. That's really across everything that we do. So we want to find partners like Boots who really want to grow their sports nutrition category and partner with them to do that. So finding the right partners, building the right, story and in-store story that we're telling, and then executing it by activating the right way, making sure we show up in the right way, and then also we do the right activations around it, sampling, social media, storytelling, etc. I mean, that was really cool. I mean, even super insightful, just, being in there and looking around. Actually ended up talking to two of the lovely store assistants there, asking them about, what their view was on trays, placements, etc. And it just really proves that actually new channels, there's such a different beast. There's so many nuances to retail that you just don't experience on D2C or Amazon. Perfect timing, some would say, Made it, 7:29.
Partner A will go out, run 400 meters, they get back to here, partner B heads out, okay? We are gonna have different blocks of people going out, but it doesn't matter pacing wise, because it's just you that you need to worry
about. What are we saying?
Let's go.
What are we saying?
Track nice and bouncy, let's get it.
We're down at the track, we've got the team, we've got the athletes.
This is what someone's about, man.
Just from us at Pure Sport, we really appreciate you guys coming down. This is what the brand's all about: connection, community, and exercise. As you guys might have seen, we got some cans here tonight, sort of like a better for you hydration product. Please take one and try one for the long run. Just wrapped up another track session, ended up being a bit of a last minute dash to get here. The growth team were grilling me about the things that they need to hit their number for the rest of the year. Rushed out, managed to get over here just in time for the warm up, and it was a mega session. It's been like 30 degrees today. So awesome turnout. Katie, who ran the session, was absolutely magic, and it ended up being a you go, I go with a partner for 50 minutes. And then afterwards, absolutely magic to see everyone drinking the cans. You've been using the cans since the marathon to gather feedback, get insight from people. It kind of felt like this is the start of summer. The magic of Pure Sport community was out in flow tonight. And a great way to finish up a Wednesday. Yeah, so probably the biggest job for me as the CEO over the past 9 months has been to really build out the senior leadership team that's going to be capable of taking us from where we are now as a sort of 10 million revenue business to a 30 million revenue business in 2.5 years, and bringing in the right mix of capability, skills, expertise, experience, and also values, fit to the business. Myself as a business leader, I don't really have like deep expertise in one particular function of the business. So the way in which we've decided to build the leadership team underneath me is have a head of operations, a head of finance, a head of growth, a head of Amazon because it's one of our biggest channels as well, head of retail sales, and then a brand director who looks after all of the brand. And sort of in a D2C e-commerce first business now, it's very common for brand and growth to be separate. Growth is like all your digital, e-commerce, performance marketing, your CRM retention, etc. And in brand is much more, your organic social, your how the brand makes people feel, community, ambassadors, etc. So we've split it up in that way. And then we also have Nick, who's like a sort of fractional COO, who's working on a number of like high value projects in the business. Cool. So we're just heading over to Sainsbury's now to have a look in the fridge. When we're thinking about launching a new product, what we try and think about is it right for the brand? So does it suit pure sport? Is it right for our customer? Is it fixing a need of the customer and something that they would use, or something that there's a gap in the market for? And then the third thing is does it suit the category? So is there a need within the category? And if it ticks all three of those things, then it's something we're going to actively really look at. For us at the moment, that's really thinking about ready to drink. We think that there is a real need in the category for sort of better for you hydration, and we're going to go and have a bit of a look at the fridge now. So this project for us is going into what we would call like gate 3, which is like more meaningfully looking at the category, the commercials, all the other competitors in the space, etc. And Rich, before he joined Pure Sport, he spent 11 years at Innocent. So he basically lived in the fridges inside the big grocers. And it's something that Rich has really been building out in terms of the project, because ultimately, if RTD is going to work, it's only going to work if it can get into mass retail.
Functional soda there, which in the last 5 years has shifted massively. But that's where like wellness, if you combine that with sport over there and then energy, and sport and energy are often seen so closely together, but like Lucozade is £500 million business in this country, but a large majority of that will be energy spend, which is a very different consumer to the active lifestyle. Then you've got Lucozade Sport, and is it truly serving the sport consumer?
Yeah, I think like we were talking about on the way over here, if you're a runner and you came in post-run now and you come to this fridge, you're dominated like 85% by all the soft drinks over here, the energy drinks, etc. As Rich says, this here is only like a new category really in the last 2 years. Your trips, your Good Rays, your sort of like functional sodas. Innocent have done a brilliant job over the last 10 years, and now they sort of own this sort of juice space. But if you're a runner coming in here right now and you want to replenish, post-run with some proper hydration, you're either kind of picking up a bottle of water which doesn't have the mineral makeup to replace the electrolytes of which you've lost. If you're a really forward-thinking consumer, you might go with a coconut water, which is better than normal water. The functional sodas doesn't really serve that need. And then there's kind of this huge, array of sugary sports drinks here, which then takes you down to Lucozade. And Lucozade now, as Rich says, is a 500 million revenue business in the UK. And this Lucozade here has 17.5 grams of sugar in it. So it's almost 4 tablespoons of sugar in that one, thing there, which for the modern day consumer, it just isn't right. So it feels like there's a real place in the category here for like better for you hydration. And as Rich says, the category is just massively underserved when you get into somewhere like this.
Yeah, I also think the way it's shifting of like this fixture's always been sport and energy. They've been like lumped together. But then there's this fixture around like, I don't know what you call this, better for you soda or wellness. Like we're seeing it within supplements where like that's getting more meshed together within the world of electrolytes, where it could be daily electrolytes through to like performance ones like ourselves and other brands. Just like I think there is a general category play over time to look at how do you actually bring this all together more. Now brands like Coca-Cola, Lucozade, Red Bull obviously want to have their brand blocking, and rightly so, but you want to make it as easy as possible for a consumer to shop that based on need state. And if they were coming in to get their lunch and they know they're going to be exercising later, how do you give them within the meal deal fixture like this one is, where everything's included, how do you give them great choice to be able to go, yeah, I know I'm going to be exercising later or exercised earlier, and I've got a better choice than, as you say, water, where I might add my electrolyte later or something, but we're making that far more impulsive for people so they can do that grab and go mission.
And you mentioned there about
about brand blocking, this is something that I've like come to learn about, because I look at that and I'm like, why does Coke need so much space? Like, it just seems ridiculous. Could they not have 2 of each one, you know, type thing? Like, so what is brand blocking and how does it work?
I think with the likes of these guys though, you're seeing like a wall of Coca-Cola and then like shelves of Lucozade. A lot of that's driven by simplicity within retail at scale. So someone like Sainsbury's, we want to make sure that this is a small local store. They've only got, you know, a handful of colleagues running it. So actually, if you put your best rate of sale products on there at decent distribution and availability, you don't have to keep replanning it. Yeah. It actually makes a lot of sense. But sometimes the downside for a consumer point of view is you have limited choice. So like the best products in terms of rate of sale have got the most space, but it's sometimes chicken and egg, because it's like, well, actually, if you're not serving that consumer properly, plenty of people obviously will be picking up those because they're some of the biggest brands in the country and globally they do very well. But actually, when we're starting to carve out this, we know there's that consumer that's not being served properly, where, as we said earlier, like there's millions of people taking up running now. We've got this huge running boom, whether that's casually or through to entering their first half marathon, and that's part of your weekly habits. Like, you want to be able to come in and find something that is for me, and actually they're fairly limited on choice based on a load of legacy brands.
So this evening, going to be heading up to Scotland with the senior leadership team. This year we got invited onto a scale-up program, which is a program for 10 of Scotland's most exciting scale-up businesses who are really trying to take that next step up. Pure Sport was founded in Glasgow, so we sort of fall into the remit of being a Scottish business, even though we're based down here in London. So I go up 4 times a year as sort of the primary business leader, and then twice a year we go up as a senior leadership team. So we've been put on the program with 2 other businesses of similar size to us, one another D2C retail business, and then the other one is actually a restaurant chain. Half the team's going up tonight, flying into Glasgow, and then the other half are coming up first thing in the morning. The big day is across tomorrow, and as a full day we're going to be going over all sorts of, you know, different things, but the primary thing which myself and the other 2 business leaders have decided to talk about is giving agency to the team. So responsibility, autonomy, you know, the ability to make, you know, decisions, and that's what we're going to be really unpacking over the next couple of days, as well as it's just a great time for us to spend some time together out of the office. So we just finished this morning's session with the team and the 2 other businesses that we're paired up here with. The workshops today are all around giving agency and how we drive agency in the business to different teams. So the Wikipedia definition of agency is the capacity of individuals to have the power and the resources to fulfill their potential. So sort of like summarized for us, it's like, how do we give the team all the things that they need, that they can drive, you know, have ownership and have autonomy to fulfill their potential within the business. So there's a number of reasons in which you would give agency in your business, and in fact you should be looking to, and that's because you really want to be attracting like what we call high skill, high potential people to the business. Those are people who are generally going to want more responsibility, they're going to want autonomy to fulfill their potential. So attracting great people is a big part of giving agency, and keeping great people feeling fulfilled in their roles. Another reason is the more agency that there is in the business, the faster you're going to be able to go. If there is quick decision making, if there is people who feel empowered to make decisions, there's no bottlenecks of going up to ask somebody if something's okay, then that's going to help your business to really move faster. And another reason is high agency businesses traditionally have really great culture, because again, back to fulfillment, back to people feeling like they're contributing to the team, they're going to be using their initiative to solve problems. Those are 3 reasons that we were chatting about this morning why it's really important to, you know, give agency. And then within that, it's like, do you have the right people to give agency to? So we talked a lot about giving people the guardrails of like, hey, these are the frameworks in which you're able to make these decisions. These would be the examples, you know, like for example, you might say to somebody, hey, here's your budget for the month. It's £20,000, and within that, we need you to deliver these things. And then anything within those 2 guardrails, not spending more than 20,000, and then making sure that they hit these objectives. How they do that is then up to them. So then we did a big exercise about mapping everyone in the business, about where they sort of sit. Are they getting enough agency? How could we give them more? What would those guardrails be? But it was a really productive session. We're currently paired up with another D2C business and then also a restaurant chain. So just interesting to hear the experiences from different businesses. And what I always kind of find with these things is you think that problems are unique to you because you've got different setups in the marketing team or different functions in the business. But actually, they're not really unique, and a lot of businesses all face similar challenges despite their their categories. We've just wrapped up this afternoon session, and we kind of spent the first half of the afternoon talking about like how to take action and you know, drive agency within the business. And then the second half, we're actually given the opportunity of if we wanted to do another exercise or actually just go and spend some time together as an SLT, which we chose to do because of the current momentum in the business at the moment. That's driving a lot of opportunity. So 4 months ago, where we were really clear on the plan, actually now, you know, some opportunities have arisen for us to try and, you know, move a bit faster on some things, and some opportunities have come up around products, around growth, etc. And what that's kind of meant is probably the plan has become less clear because we're unsure which opportunities we're going to go after and which ones we're going to say no to. So it kind of feels like we needed some time together to just like talk that through, and that's exactly what we then did. We've just spent the last couple of hours talking over protein, talking over, you know, H2, what are the numbers, you know, what's the target that we're going to go after versus the budget that we thought at the start of the year. And then within that, what are the other big swings that we're looking at taking? Because you kind of have to be working, you know, 6 months in advance now. It's not a small startup business anymore where we can turn around 100 units in, you know, 4 to 6 weeks and just chuck it up and see how it goes. But we don't want to become a, you know, slow, big cruise liner that takes a year to execute on things. So it's like, well, of these opportunities, which ones do we believe are the SLT are the ones that are worth going after? You know, ready to drinks. Within that, you know, we've obviously got the protein coming up. There's a few other things within that, races that we've been talking about. So it's just great to sit down and hash that out. And I always underestimate actually how good it can be to sit down in a group like that outside of the office. I think when you're in the office, you're still stimulated. You can get pulled out of things. There's other things going on, you know, in the business. You know, your Slack's going off, etc. But actually, just being away from the office, being somewhere like this, you know, sitting down for a couple of hours together, we managed to really work through a number of the things that we need to tick off, so we can be really clear on the back half of the year. We've said that we're just going to go out for a walk now. There's an amazing track around the castle, so we're going to go for a walk and just sort of debrief, spend some time out there. And then we've got dinner tonight, and then back down to London tomorrow. That's a wrap up here in Glasgow, just waiting at the train station to get a train back down and then a flight back down to London. It's just been such a good reminder to me of, like, you know, if you want to be a big business, you've almost got to act like a big business. And we have a saying in the business, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And spending time together, making sure the plan is good and we have a great plan to execute against, it's just a solid reminder that we just have to keep doing these bits of work. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Drop a comment below. We're going to be picking a winner every episode now to send out some apparel and some products. So drop a comment and I'll pick a winner each video. And I've loaded up a random comments selector here. Oh, here we go. Simon Willett. Hully hasn't missed an episode. Thanks for commenting, Simon, and I'll be in touch. Yeah, as always I say, I just appreciate the support, what people are, you know, messaging me, talking to me about, the bits that they're finding valuable. You know, it is really humbling to hear. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next week.